Live. Hello, everyone. This is Raksha Bharadia from Bonobology, and today we have a short Insta Live where we're going to talk about the anxious attachment style. So, till Aman comes here, who's our guest, our chief guest for the evening, uh, I want to tell you a little bit about Bonobology. So, we are basically in the relationship space, in the couple space. So, you know how things were, during our parents' time and how relationships, especially couple relationships, are now. It's completely a world apart. So, just to give you something till, like I said, Aman comes in. Um, there are three things which our parents kind of did differently than we do now. One is they were the protectors. Okay, the men were the protectors. It's not the same now because of women working, because of late night schedules, the graveyard hours. It's not possible because of cyber insecurity. One really cannot protect. Our parents enjoyed this thing about the men being the providers, but now women are the providers too. Just 1 second, please. Can you check if Aman is there here? Aman, if you are here, you just have to request to be a part of this. So now, Aishi, can you call him? Okay. So men were the providers, but now with women earning, men are not the only ones providing. And most importantly, during our parents' times, men were the decision makers. But now, because we live in nuclear families and not really in joint families, where decisions are taken by, Tau and Dada and Chacha and all the other people, it's different. Now the couple makes a decision, and that's completely changed the relationship dynamic. Another thing which has changed us, we had marital life for about 30, 40 years because we lived till 60, 70. And now we are married for 60, 70 years, which means one person with their idiosyncrasies like day in and day out. So, oh yes, thank you, Heyman. Yeah, we try and help people's issues, and we've got a lot of experts on our website, and we try and get to the nuances of couple relationship. So one thing that we are getting a lot nowadays, since we're talking about anxious attachment style, is this need of people. They want to feel close, but then when the other person kind of shows emotional intimacy, they want to run away. Okay, they are needy and they have no understanding of boundary. At the same time, they are also they always fear abandonment. So somehow there is this whole sense of being insecure. So interestingly, Hina, so you've written, please, okay, view request. Okay, Aman is joining us. Accept. Hina, I will just get your question very soon. Aman should be with us like very soon now. Hi, Aman, welcome.
Hello. Can you guys hear me and see me clearly?
Absolutely, you're absolutely loud and clear. So, guys, we have our guest with us. My favorite, absolute favorite, Dr. Aman Bhonsle. We as a Bono team, we've been running to him with, oh my God, Aman, inputs. Oh my God, Aman, we have this session. You've got to help this person out. And I would like to tell one thing before I introduce him, that in the pieces we take his inputs for, they rank globally in the world, Aman. So, and it's all expert validated. So, guys, to introduce you to our guest, Aman Bhonsle is a Ph.D., a highly trained counselor. He's a psychotherapist and he's a trainer in transactional analysis. He does workshops, in mental health and most importantly for us, relationship problems. I mean, that's a huge, huge bio, Aman. I'm not going to get into it. But to begin with, let's make it fun for the audience. So tell me one thing that you think you love about Indian relationships, Indian couple relationships.
I think the theatrics that surround Indian relationships, because I think I've grown up on a diet of extreme behavior in movies that अगर तुमने मुझे प्यार नहीं किया मैं अपनी जान दे दूंगी. So there's a lot of shouting, screaming, and it's also like a game of hide and seek, because the idea of dating is still not as widely accepted as you think it would be in the year 2022. Boys and girls both hiding their partners from their parents as if it's a drug that they're consuming. So, there's a lot of theatricality, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of hiding, and you know, it's tough to sometimes keep up with your own lies, and sometimes it's tough for people to keep up with their own priorities. As individuals or as members of a culture or a family or a community or of a certain socio-economic strata, there's so much weight put on your shoulders, right? When you're in a relationship, so many things you want to accomplish, and then there are all these other people telling you what to do. So it is a very traumatic situation here in India, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, Aishwarya wrote they had to shut the pillars in Taj Mahal to the public because of the high suicide rate. So the drama is very real. It is.
It is. It is. It is real.
Okay. So Aman, let's jump into a topic because this is going to be like 8-10 minutes.
Right.
So what is this anxious attachment style? Like, if you could just explain it to our readers, what it is exactly, and if they have it, because interestingly, we got a client who didn't know that she had this, and one of our experts, Gopa Khan, kind of made her understand that, listen, you're suffering from this, you need to treat yourself, not the guy that you think. So if you could tell us a little about what is this exactly, and how does one know that they actually have it?
So essentially, in the 1950s, this conversation of attachment styles began. Interestingly, the 1950s was a very interesting time for the world of psychotherapy, because you had stalwarts like Albert Ellis, Eric Berne, helming some of the greatest discoveries that affect the world of psychotherapy till today, such as CBT, transactional analysis, which we still practice and which the WHO still recognizes. So essentially, there are three attachment styles: secure, avoidant, and anxious. So since we're talking about the anxious attachment style, we're essentially looking at this state of hypervigilance and extreme sensitivity to what is being perceived as rejection. So someone may or may not have rejected you, but you perceive that you are unwanted, unloved, undesired, and you don't have what it takes. So this is a sort of insecurity that develops, with people with the anxious attachment style, where this question looms over them: will they leave me? Will they hate me? Will they get sick of me? Will they realize that I'm not as good as they thought I was? Will they figure me out for the fake I am, for the half-assed individual I am? And then that, further leads to desire to constantly impress someone, or what we call fawning behavior, FAWNING. Please don't leave me, please don't leave me, I'll change, I'll do anything. This desire to sort of always be available, this desire to always help someone who may have not even asked for your help, this desire to always try to be as palatable and likable at the same time.
Yeah, people pleasing.
People pleasing, absolutely. So that comes with the anxiety, that fear that I will be forgotten or I will be left behind.
Yeah. So Aman, here's a question. So each one of us will have some sort of fear of not being loved, right? So how do I know for myself that this is normal and this is not normal, it's going into a problem? So how, for my readers here or for the viewers here, how do we know that whether in ourselves or in the person we love, this is not an issue but a regular normal thing? How do you kind of differentiate?
I think it's very important to tell the difference between a fact and an assumption or a belief. So a fact is something that can be verified, it's measurable, it's observable, and it can be tracked. But a belief or an assumption is largely something that plays out in your mind as a result of the emotions you are experiencing, or you perhaps feel strongly about something. So you can assume someone dislikes you just because they didn't reply to your WhatsApp in 3 days.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe that they haven't charged their phone, or they've lost their phone, or they've been extremely busy, or they've just had too many messages and they may have missed out on your message. So the fact is they haven't checked their phone. The assumption is that they don't like me, therefore they are not replying to my WhatsApp messages. So you see, that's the qualitative difference between an assumption, which is largely in your head, and a fact which involves several other pieces of information that you don't have access to. So you don't exactly know what's happening. So it's very important to tell the difference, as I said, between an assumption and a fact.
Okay. Any other pointers here? So one is difference between an assumption and a fact. So do a fact check. Anything else? How do I know if I'm not crossing the boundary and like it's within the normal parameters? Anything else that would help?
See, I think a little bit of intuition whereby you know how well you are doing in a certain relationship dynamic is very important. You kind of get a sense of how other people read you or perceive you when you're around them. Uh, and that is an extremely important indicator of how uh, desirable your company is. But sometimes these things can also be imagined. So, for someone with an anxious attachment style, look for evidence in all your social interactions and relationships of how are you being received largely. What is the consensus? It's
Ah,
also important to have people who you can trust, who will not contaminate feedback that you may ask from them by adding their biases to it, who will actually tell you what they think you need to, be more careful about. For example, if you're coming across as a little clingy or
hmm,
dependent,
hmm.
or you get emotional about someone not being available to you when you need them, then only an honest friend will tell you, hey, you need to back off a little bit, or, figure out alternative resources to sort of deal with your problem. So it's important to have that kind of, sort of circle of people who you can trust, um, or you need to have access to professional help, which is why a lot of people come to a counselor who can objectively tell them where they may have,
Yeah,
broken certain
absolutely.
boundaries. Yeah, yeah,
So to sum it up, of course, fact and assumption, and secondly, you said look at your interaction in your other relationships. How
sure.
are you coming across? And they should be honest, and then that kind of puts things in perspective. And third is, if you are even a little unsure, go and seek a therapist. The problem, Aman, in our country is even now we kind of we don't want to share with others. For
Right.
example, we've now helped thousands of people, but when we ask them, can you kind of come and can we use your testimony on our website? They're like, no, 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 I don't want to tell that I've sought help. I mean, isn't it a valuable, precious thing that you thought your mental health was important to seek help? But, anyways, digressing a little.
No, I
Uh,
understand. What you're saying is it all right to admit that you need help? I
hmm,
think the fact that you need help and how you process it is a very universal, I think, challenge for anyone. That all of us at some point require help. While some of us are a little more discreet and private about our need for help, some may want to tweet about it or put an Insta story about it. So I believe that's really a personal choice.
hmm.
Depending on the kind of, as I said, depending on the kind of people who are scrutinizing your behavior. For example, if you tweet about needing mental health help and your
Hmm.
employer sees it, how is that going to affect your chances at getting a promotion at the office? So
Ah,
it's
that's
a
interesting.
double-edged sword. You
Yeah,
want to really
yeah.
go out there and talk about all your mental health problems in public, or do you want to keep it under wraps? I don't think there is a general consensus on this, but I do believe, at least as far as your individual life is concerned, at least destigmatize it for yourself and your
Yes.
immediate family,
That's
and
actually
the help.
interesting. Yeah, at least destigmatize it for yourself. At least don't shy away from taking help thinking that, oh my God, this
Yeah,
is not okay.
that's right.
Yeah, Aishwarya also said that even in government schools, like right from the beginning, we should make it normal and acceptable.
Sure.
Which, anyways. So, Ekshika had asked an interesting question, which I'll just quickly take it before we go. She had said, how do you know the difference between disorganized and anxious attachment? Aman.
Disorganized in relation to what?
Ekshika, if you could answer that, and till then, we will go on to the next question. Um, so Aman, the next question is fear of abandonment. How, like, is this the biggest issue with people with anxious attachment style? And if it is, how can they themselves kind of fix it?
See, what happens is you are afraid of other people abandoning you because internally you have assumed that people should not abandon you and that you deserve their care, their scrutiny, their availability, their warmth, and their purity of intent. So to assume that you are so important is to fool yourself, because I think that ultimately we are all trying to figure out our own needs in ways that make sense to us. Now, what is important to you may not be important to other people. So it's important to direct a lot of self care towards yourself and sort of, you know, de-link your own well being with the availability and the access of other people in your life. You feel
Yes.
internally well rested and you're happy with the person you are, you won't go out there like an approval junkie expecting everyone to sort of sign on your report card, so to speak, right? Because
Yes.
because
Yeah.
there's
So be
no way
okay with
of,
your own sense of what you are. That's
there
what
is
you're
no
saying
way of
here.
knowing what aspect of your personality is going to offend someone. Maybe the way you look, maybe your gender, maybe your accent, maybe your nationality, maybe your value system, maybe your religious views, your political alignment, your gender pronouns. How am I supposed to know what's going to offend someone about me? So be at peace with yourself. Don't look at other people as authorities on how to feel about yourself. Accept and love yourself. That way you won't go out there with a begging bowl expecting everyone to drop rose petals and love and attention and care in it. And I know this is easier said than done. There have been times in my life as well when I was younger when I wanted some people to approve me, to invite me to certain places, to see me as important or valuable. But such things cannot be externally juxtaposed. You have to
Absolutely.
learn to reject yourself lesser so that you don't go out there expecting everyone else to give you what you want, and you are able to perfectly give yourself what you want, which is care, love, happiness, a good routine, a sound body and mind, a close but important circle of a few good friends who can keep you in check, inspire you, and help bring out your best qualities. These are a few simple things that everyone needs, so go after them.
Yes. Thank you. So we got the thing. So last two questions. Echika wrote, so disorganized attachment style in relationships vis-a-vis anxious attachment style.
Hmm. So what about it?
No, so what is the difference? Like what is a disorganized attachment style?
In a disorganized attachment style, typically the person who is undergoing it has grown up with a lot of childhood trauma. So your caregiving situation was probably very chaotic. So your parents may have been very insensitive to you, inadvertently or deliberately insensitive, or they may have been inconsistent in the quality of care that they were able to provide to you. For maybe they were new parents or they haven't really figured it out completely. Uh, it's that in the disorganized attachment tendency, you feel that people who you trust are going to hurt you. Perhaps because as a child, you put your trust very easily in some individuals and they didn't exactly reward that trust with anything that you could sort of feel good about. So what happens is such people want love, want relationships, want security, but at the same time, their fear makes them reject relationships, reject that security, and look at it with, almost a very suspicious eye, and trying to find problems where none exist, trying to create problems where none exist, simply to match with your worldview, which is consistent with your previously experienced pain as a child. So that
Okay.
disorganized attachment tendency.
Okay. So here it is now. Suppose one is in a relationship with a person that now we've realized has an anxious attachment style. How do you manage being in love or dating or being married to such a person who has, so what advice would you give to our viewers if they are in a relationship with such a person?
Well, I would certainly hope that they have a secure attachment style, which means that they should be able to articulate what they want, go after the things they need, express their affection without any filters or barriers. Uh, so it's very important for the right combinations to exist. You know what I mean? So even for example, when it comes to cooking, you want to know exactly how the interplay of ingredients creates the final dish. Similarly, certain personalities, coalesce better and are a lot more cohesive as friends or as a couple, and some personalities just don't gel well together. So if you are in a relationship with someone with an anxious attachment style, understand that they are struggling to accept themselves, struggling to build trust, struggling past the shame and the pain of their past, where they felt abandoned or where they felt extremely exploited or ignored or hurt. So it's very important to be very kind and very patient with such people, be very demonstrative of your love towards them, be very patient with them, and help them seek outside help as well. Send them to a therapist, send them to someone who can, help them analyze themselves, their own behavior better.
Okay. So somebody just asked that it's basically low self-esteem, right? Anxious attachment style, more or less, it the person would suffer from a low sense of self-esteem or
Very
low self.
much. Very much so. They, these are people who are craving for intimacy because they cannot be intimate with themselves. They don't like who they are. They don't like what they see in the mirror. Largely because they've internalized these voices from their past, where their mother or father or their teachers or siblings may have said, "You're useless. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You don't look the part. You don't act the part. You can't play sports. You're bad at maths." Whatever you've been told, all this criticism has been internalized, and you now see yourself as broken or incomplete. So you are seeking someone else to come and sort of Feviquick you and put all these broken pieces of Humpty Dumpty together again, because you can't do that for yourself. You don't have a high opinion of yourself. So you need to outsource the opinion about yourself
Wow.
to someone else. Someone else has that opinion about you rather than you having it about yourself. That is the classic trademark of the anxious attachment style. So these are people who yearn for love but are also afraid of it, who want more friends but also are extremely comfortable with the 2, 3 friends they may have made 2 decades ago, because their chief concern is they are uh, in need of constant validation and are terrified of rejection because they already self reject on a daily basis.
Wow. So we'll just take one last question, Aman. We've overshot a little. Somebody's written, what can I do if my partner says that I'm judgmental about him or her? How do I convince him or her for therapy? How do you convince your partner for therapy?
If your partner is struggling, you can tell them that try therapy out. You don't have to enjoy it. And unless you enjoy it, you don't have to continue it. Uh, because therapy is all about objectivity. What are we doing as therapists out here? We are here to offer objectivity to people who can't look past their habits, patterns, values, and quirks. So it is important to say, wouldn't it be nice if your issues, whatever they are, let's not label them, let's forget about attachment styles for a second. Whatever your issues are, whatever is slowing you down, whatever you see as problematic, whatever you see as interfering with your survival and happiness, whatever it is, wouldn't it be interesting if an objective individual, highly trained in the cognitive discipline, who understands behavioral psychology, could look at those issues and sort of help you untangle why you became this way and how to move forward, how to sort of redesign your personality. I keep telling this, that your personality is like a wall. It's like a wall that you have been given. Now you can either break down that wall and build something else, or you can hang a beautiful artwork on that wall, or you can put creepers and planters on that wall, or you can repaint that wall, or you can put a bulletin board, or you can put lots of sticky notes, or you could doodle on that wall. But the wall is common. How you design on it, what you do with it, is really up to you. So your personality is that wall on which you can create anything you want. So your little bit of your personality you have inherited, kuch to genetic factor hota hai, isn't it? So that's the
Yeah.
wall. Everyone gets the wall, and what you do on it, that's the design component. What kind of personality would I like to have which will orient me towards more success as a romantic partner, as a friend, as a career individual, as a member of a community, a society? So that's important to dwell on, I would say. So try to inspire your partner or your friend to go seek out these answers through therapy, because therapy is a largely introspective, I would say, paradigm where an individual external to your ecosystem is
Mm.
asking questions that have a universal resonance to life that can also be customized to help you fix your problems.
Absolutely. So the line is that it will be great to have a third person, somebody outside your system, an
Yeah.
objective voice to tell you, oh my God, I mean, that's a fantastic, very simple way to kind of tell your partner that do it once, try it, let's see if you don't enjoy it, leave it. Thank you, Aman. That was fabulous. And we've run out of time, people, but Aman is on our panel. You can book his session. We are going to post a link once this video goes live in the caption for Aman's profile, or you'll have to copy paste maybe, and feel free. You could book a session with him, and we offer counseling services. And Aman, any last line that you want to tell the Yuva of India about anything to do with relationships that you see a lot and you'd like to kind of end up with a line that you want them to kind of keep?
Don't let the outside noise affect your perception of who you are. A lot of people will come along and tell you who you are. Your parents, your teachers, they'll say you're useless, you're noisy, you talk too much, you talk too little. Whatever you know of yourself should be largely known only to you. Use that information to set a goal, to create values for your life that are important, and to accordingly find the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, who is in great alignment with those values, who shares at least some of those values. You don't have to marry your clone, all right, or be with someone who's exactly like you, but someone who largely adheres to the values that you hold the most, the dearest and closest to yourself. And there's a lot of bullshit and noise out there, especially when you're young. A lot of maybe individuals who consider themselves as experts on academics, experts on discipline, experts on culture, experts on good behavior. These experts are not experts. They're just peddling their biases and trying to poke you in the eye. All right. So know who you are. Remember,
Beautiful.
remember what the father says in Lion King to Simba. Never forget who you are. All right.
Oh,
That's what I would say.
that's beautiful. Thank you so much. So never forget who you are, people. Let's give that to us. Thank you so much, Aman. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the time you spent. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, viewers. Thank you for being here. We are going to have Insta Live twice a month. Keep up, subscribe to our channel, know what we are doing. Thank you. Thank you, Aman. Bye bye.